All right, let's get right into it. Everyone's eyes are on the fancy AI models, right? But the real story, the one worth trillions, is happening completely out of sight. We're talking about the plumbing, the actual physical stuff that makes this whole digital revolution even possible.
And that quote just nails it, doesn't it? The model changes every 2 months. The infrastructure, that lasts a decade. Think about that. While everyone's chasing the latest, flashiest chatbot, the real money, the long-term value, is being poured into the foundation. It's this quiet, invisible race to build and own the physical layer for the next era of computing.
So, that really is the big question, right? Where is the real money flowing? I mean, look at the numbers. The hyperscalers, the giants like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, they're on track to spend over $650 billion on AI infrastructure this year alone. So where is all that cash actually going? The answer? Well, it's probably not where you think. Okay, so it all starts with a problem, a really big one. A problem of pure physics that you just can't code your way out of. And that problem is simple. AI is unbelievably hungry for power.
Whoa, just look at the jump on this. We're not talking about some small incremental increase here. This is a 10 times explosion in both power and heat coming off a single server rack. A 10x jump in just a few years. It basically means the old way of doing things, just blowing air on it, is completely finished for serious AI.
I know, that's not some kind of exaggeration. We've literally gone from building data centers to building what you can only call AI factories. A single one of these campuses can slurp up as much electricity as a medium-sized city. And that incredible demand for power is the engine driving this entire story. So, you have this massive power problem, right? Well, that means building the solution is a massive opportunity. And that's what we're calling the physical layer. Think of it like the new gold rush. This is the market for the picks and shovels. And let's be super clear here. We are not talking about software. This is the heavy-duty, real-world, you-can-kick-it kind of infrastructure. We're talking concrete, copper wire, fiber optic cables, all the stuff that forms the actual physical nervous system of AI. And you can really break this layer down into 4 main buckets. First, you've got to get the power there. That's the grid. Second, you have to deal with all that heat, so you need advanced cooling. Third, you've got to connect everything with super fast fiber. And finally, you have to actually build the buildings. The crazy part is, any one of these is a huge market by itself. So who are the players? Who's actually building all this stuff? Well, these are what you might call the architects of this whole supercycle. They're the companies that take raw electricity from the grid and turn it into the lifeblood of AI. Now, you might not see these names in the headlines every day like the big tech companies, but make no mistake, they are the absolute backbone. You've got Quanta Services, literally out there building the high-voltage power lines. You've got Vertiv, figuring out how to cool these things down. Eaton's making the critical switchgear and transformers. And GE Vernova is kind of putting it all together, from the grid all the way to the chip. And the demand? It's just staggering. Take a look at this number. $44 billion. That's the record-breaking backlog for just one of these companies, Quanta. That's $44 billion of work that's already booked, all because everyone is desperate to get more power to their new AI factories. And it is not just a one-off thing. It's not just Quanta. Look at Vertiv's backlog. It more than doubled in 1 year. See, this isn't just normal growth. This is what a super cycle looks like. The orders are just flooding in from companies that are in a flat-out scramble to build more AI capacity. Okay, so we've got this undeniable super cycle happening. The big question for traders and analysts is, how do you track where the smart money is flowing inside of it? Because as it turns out, the old traditional ways of looking at stocks, they don't really give you the full picture here. Here's the deal. Your standard trading indicators, they're often built for flashy, high-volatility tech stocks. They can create a lot of noise when you're looking at these steadier industrial-type companies. So to see what's really going on, you have to look deeper. You need to analyze the volume. Not just how many shares are traded, but the exact price levels where the big trades are happening. That's how you spot the footprints of the big institutions. And how are the pros doing that? Well, in a pretty perfect twist, right? Sophisticated traders are using machine learning to get an edge. They're literally using AI to analyze the AI infrastructure boom. One of the coolest techniques they use is called K-means clustering. The best way to think about it is like a super smart highlighter for a stock chart. A normal chart just shows you price going up and down over time. This instead looks at all the trading activity and automatically groups it into these zones of high density. It basically finds the hidden neighborhoods where the big money was active, things you would completely miss just by looking at the price. Now, the process behind it gets a little technical. It's this iterative loop, but what really matters is the end result. By grouping all the trades based on both price and volume, the algorithm spits out a crystal clear map of the market structure. It shows you the exact price levels that the market actually cares about, and it filters out all the random noise in between.
And that's why this is so powerful. It basically tidies up the chart for you. It points a big arrow at the price levels where the institutions were buying and selling. It reveals these hidden value zones, the real support and resistance levels that define the market structure. It can even tell you if the market is in a real trend or just chopping around sideways.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. When you strip everything else away, this entire AI revolution, all of it, hinges on one single, inescapable physical problem. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The biggest choke point isn't chips, it's not software, it's not even money. It's electricity. Simple as that. You can have the most brilliant software and the fastest silicon in the world, but if you can't get massive, reliable power to it, none of it matters. The new mantra in tech isn't speed to market, it's speed to power. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. The next chapter of the AI story isn't just going to be written in code. It's going to be built with concrete, copper, and steel. It is at its core a massive trillion-dollar plumbing problem. And the companies that are solving that problem, well, that's where you're seeing this incredible flow of smart money. And so that leaves us with one final question to chew on. For the last 50 years, we've all believed that the future of computing was all about silicon. How small can we make the next transistor? But what if we were looking at the wrong end of the telescope? What if the real bottleneck, the true limit on the future of AI, isn't how small we can build, but how big we can build our power grid?